Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, thank you to all the witnesses that are providing testimony. Chief Graves, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate your time and willingness to share insight on how we can better support our state and local partners and prepare our communities with high-profile events like the FIFA World Cup. Your testimony is especially important given the continuing toll of gun violence and the mass shootings in our country. What should have been a joyful event turned tragic when an argument escalated into gunfire during the celebration of the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory. Sadly, one person was killed and at least 20 others were injured, including 8 children. The timeline in the after-action report shows just how quickly a situation can escalate and become deadly. Gun violence remains a persistent threat that law enforcement must plan for among all other threats we have heard about today. According to the Gun Violence Archives, there have already been at least 231 mass shootings in the United States this year, resulting in 175 deaths and over 1,000 injuries. We must do all that we can to protect fans, athletes, innocent bystanders, especially children, from this ongoing threat during our major public events. Chief Graves, from your experience, how do firearms affect our police plan for security at mass gathering events, and what did your department learn from the parade shooting about the presence of firearm in the crowds?
As we plan for all situations, obviously localized gun violence is one of those. You know, when you look at these mass gatherings, we're looking at lone attacks, we're looking at coordinated terrorist attacks, but also localized gun violence. And on that day, on February 14th of 2024, there were 2 groups of people that had a perceived provocation with one another that led to gun violence. The lack of, I guess, the respect for life, conflict resolution, emotional regulation, and just going straight to guns in a conflict is a problem in many cities in America. And I would say, you know, as we plan for those, we want to make sure that we have enough officers that are on the ground that can respond, that can immediately stop a threat, or in fact, if we see something brewing, we can de-escalate it. In this situation, we had a lot of officers right in the area where the shooting happened. At times, law enforcement is no longer a deterrent when someone decides to pull a trigger. You know, we've seen that time and again, not only in my city, but also across the United States. So just making sure that we are properly deployed and that we also have the training that you saw on display of officers running towards the threat when you have what you believe to be an active shooter.
Thank you. And Chief, very quickly, how do police department ensure that people are secure, not just at the main event, but also in areas where fans gather to watch the event at places like the Fan Fest, bars and restaurants? And how do we ensure that people are safe from the altercations that may erupt into these mass shootings or other major incidents? What's your thought on that?
I want to make a note of the Super Bowl parade and rally where shots were fired. You know, we had officers there at the ready and looking forward into planning for some of those. That's one of the challenges of those mass gatherings. It's an open-air public event. We had the parade route secured. We had plenty of officers in and around the rally and along the route. But, of course, if you don't have a perimetered, secured entry, that is when you have some of those challenges in those public open-air events. It's open to all, and I would say we had close to 1 million people in and around that area on February 14th in 2024. So looking forward, when you are looking at some of those events, whether that be Fan Fest or some of the matches that are going to take place at Arrowhead Stadium, there are levels and levels of security that will be in place to make sure that we stop any threat before it comes into the door. You know, we will continue to do that in and around some of the events. So we will also not in addition to those officers that are on duty, we also will have off-duty officers that will be working in different venues to make sure that those areas are safe also.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.